Good morning. Hello, everyone. You might be watching this at night. You might be watching it in the morning. This is Arden's Chats. So as a reminder, I created Arden's Chats out of a need for supporting my friends, my local businesses, my people that need access. If I had $1 trillion, I would be giving all of you all my trillions of dollars. Do not have $1 trillion, but I have $1 trillion worth of a network. So I'm introducing you to all my people, giving you access, giving you time to ask them questions, write later what you're looking for. And this is the infamous, my dear friend, Bakari Sellers. I've known Bakari before all y'all, before he was CNN famous and all these sorts of things. And I'm so excited to get to have him here today. And Bakari, tell the people who you are.
Tell the people who I am. Well, first, I guess we have to give a shout out to Logan and Diane and Alan for our little friendship group that this blossomed from. Shout out to all of them. I'm sure they will click and watch today. My name is Bakari Sellers. I'm from the big city of Denmark, South Carolina. I'm currently a CNN political commentator. I am an author. I'm a lawyer. I have a community foundation. And a documentary about my race for lieutenant governor. I'm a retired legislator, which is the best kind of legislator. And right now I'm quarantined like everyone else, which is why I haven't shaved or got a haircut in oh so long. But at least today I didn't really take my workout clothes off, but this is what you got.
I'm the mullet of outfits these days. Business on the top, Lulu on the bottom.
Got to make it work.
And let's be honest, sometimes it's Lulu on the top. I just ran out of Lulu and I don't want to wash. So Bakari, what is, from your perspective, the best thing coming out of COVID and then the scariest thing coming out?
Well, I have a hard time putting things in the category of what's the best, especially when people around us are experiencing so much death. I had a couple of friends, two really, really good friends to have COVID. One just got out of the hospital yesterday, and another was sent home. He was in New York on an inhaler. He probably would have been hospitalized, but New York system's been overrun. I have friends, mothers who have COVID, so it's really hard to say the best. I do think, though, that people are, for the first time in our lifetimes, especially millennials and Generation Z, we're actually able to slow down, maybe not disconnect. We're actually connecting at a higher rate, but we're actually able to slow down and stay in one place. And with that, you're able to reconnect with family, spend time with wives and kids. And hopefully people are writing down and being very intentional. I always talk to people about intentionality. Many times people have goals, but they don't have any intention. And right now is the time when you can be intentional about your goals and write them down and figure out the best ways to execute them and order your steps. I have a few things I'm working on now, and every day just trying to. You can't eat a whole apple at once. You have to take the first bite. So each day while we're home, hopefully we'll take those bites.
It's really, I think that's best and worst is obviously the scariest thing is, especially, I want to talk about South Carolina in a second, but just seeing people around me finally taking steps, like I'm reading Think and Grow Rich for Women by Sharon Lechter, and just really looking at, I have had that book for a year and I've never sat down to read it and go through my own intentions. And you're so good at that. You're so good at going through intentionality. So what's one thing you can recommend to people as the uber successful person that you are, hailing from Denmark, South Carolina, right? Like, you do have a great story of putting things one step at a time, right? Like, you didn't start out with the platform that you have now. So how did you start building that?
Well, I mean, my platform was created because I believe in preparing yourself for opportunity. And I got hired by CNN off the street. One of my good friends, Clemente Pinckney, was one of the 9 people who was murdered in Emmanuel AME church shooting in June of 2015. And I began to give a voice to all those South Carolinians, to Clem's daughters, his family. They've resonated around the world. And I got a phone call from a private number which was CNN calling, asking, if I wanted to be hired. I got offers from a few networks and chose CNN. And I've been so fortunate and blessed to be there. But with that platform, I decided to do other things as well. Those other things include I wanted to start a community organization, which I have now. We're raising money right now for respirator masks, which are very important, and we're targeted. I mean, we're not just raising money and for masks to raise money for masks. We're actually donating those masks to rural hospitals, because that's where I come from, and that's where when COVID hits, it's going to hit the hardest, because people won't have access to resources. We have the documentary on my race for Lieutenant Governor, While I Breathe Out Hope, which I have to thank Emily Harrell for. And it's every person who was in the C-suite of creating that film, the editors, the directors, were all women on that project. And so that's probably why the project turned out so good, because women did things much better. And writing a book, which was very intentional. I had to expedite the book right. So I was able to do it in about 4 months, which is fast for books. It's 240, 50 pages, about 60, 62, 63,000 words. But I wrote it 15 minutes a day, every day, which is how you kind of eat the whole apple one bite at a time. Yeah. And, just practicing law. And so I spend each moment of my day just being intentional about doing those things. When I get off with you, I'm having to have a conference call with Bishop T.D. Jakes and his team, trying to make sure that African-American communities understand and are knowledgeable about what's going on in the stimulus bill, so they can have access to resources, especially small businesses. And so just, doing anything I can and everything I can.
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to kind of lean into a little bit, is these rural areas and especially our African-American areas. I just saw a Medium article come out that everyone's getting money except for small Black businesses. So your barbers, these kinds of folks. Like, how can we make sure, we all know I am a white woman, it's clear, but I really try to shocking.
Surprises.
Right.
Oh my God. Breaking news. We need a breaking news cryon like CNN at the bottom of the screen for that.
Probably is coming. Oh my gosh. Arden is actually white. But I think we all have to use our platforms in some sort of way. So tell me what we can do for our rural. I'm saying
a lot of people don't even know that today is the first day to apply for small business loans. Yeah. Those loans have guarantees. Yep. They're easier to get. Payroll, and a lot of times it's just a lack of information or resources. When it comes to, I think I have to explain to your viewers and listeners when we talk about rural communities, especially poor rural communities that are Black and brown, we're talking about places where you cannot go to a grocery store or get fresh fruits and vegetables within 2 miles. There are food deserts all around. Right. Where I'm from, the closest hospital is 30 minutes away. Where access to broadband is extremely limited. So you take this lack of access to resources for healthy items, you take the lack of access to healthcare, the technological divide, you have these huge socioeconomic divides. And so by the time people in Charlotte apply for SBA loans, try to get in this first wave of stimulus, then you'll be in the western portion of the state of North Carolina, and people still will not have that understanding. Those barbershops and beauty salons, what you may not know, Arden, but the fastest demographic in terms of growing small businesses in the country over the past decade plus has been Black women. And unfortunately, during this COVID, there is a great deal of fear. I was speaking to Senator Harris about it last night, Kamala Harris about it last night. There's a great deal of fear that a lot of the gains, especially that Black women made in the realm of small business, will deteriorate because of the lack of access to capital during COVID. Just doing our job, using your platform, using Arden Chats to get people on to share information is always good, and helping people grow. That's what we have to do. We have to lift each other up during this time period.
Yeah. So what's one thing? I love that. Like, I'm just thinking about my women I've been talking to who they own salons, they own their makeup, they own spray tan, all these kinds of things, and having to pivot, really shutting down last week, and then having to pivot. And most of them are Black and brown, and had to take the same week that I took a couple weeks ago to just relax, because they're like, oh my gosh, I can't go to my home. I have to tell my clients not to go do their own brows, do their own eyelashes, do their own hair. But we all want to look nice. So I love that. I'm going to definitely take that into consideration and ask them to come on. So tell me about, because I don't have a ton of time with you. What's your book? Because this is a great platform, but I want people knowing that the story of Bakari is not CNN Bakari, right? Like, and I want you to dig into that. Like, you have done a lot of work. You've really leaned into the gifts God has given you to raise up the next generation of amazing people. And
well, I don't know about raise up the next generation, other than just continuing a generational fight that my father started. I remind people often that my life has been bookmarked by tragedy, from the Orangeburg Massacre, February 8th, 1968, to the Charleston Massacre. And I always tell people that February 8th, 1968 was the most important day of my life, even though it was nearly 20 years before I was born. And so just living through those things. My book is called My Vanishing Country. It's available now. Shameless plug. Pre-order anywhere. Go to your independent bookstores, though, because those are the places that need your help during this time period. So go to your independent bookstores, indie books, order from them. It's a HarperCollins book, but we talk about growing up in the poor rural South. We talk about my father's history, and Don't Be a Dead Hero was a letter my grandfather wrote to my father. And so that's the title. We go all the way through my matriculation, being so young and going to Morehouse and navigating Morehouse College. And, when my college career and political career nearly overlapped. There was about a 3-month separation because I ran for office when I was 21 years old. And so talking about that, my experiences with the 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama. And it ends, the book ends in a very kind of unique fashion. We talk about Charleston, we talk about all those things, but we also talk about my wife almost dying during the birth of my twins and African-American female mortality. It's a chapter entitled, Why Are the Strongest Women in the World Always Dying? And then we talk about 2016 and the power of rhetoric. It's a pretty good book. We got good reviews in Kirkus, and recently Garden and Gun, which is, most people are like, what? Yeah, Garden and Gun wrote a I love Garden and Gun. It's actually based out of Charleston, and I love it. It's my, I think it's better than Southern Living. I don't want to get in any trouble, but I know that they compete. But it's a good book, so I hope people share it, buy it, and pass the work.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So what do we do now? What do we do in this moment of waiting? I don't want to get into politics. Luckily, we're not going to talk about that but what can we do as my brother and sister-in-law and niece in Emporia, Kansas? Because I want people to also realize, when you're talking about rural doesn't just mean our area. Rural is sitting in Kansas where they have to drive an hour to get to anything as well. So we have a lot. What can we do now to educate we're in the metropolis, to educate and also just honestly support each other? Because I think people are getting scared. They're getting frustrated. They're either jumping in and loving each other, or they're just going, I got to save myself. That's one thing you're kind of doing to let go of that. Because you have your family. We don't want anything to happen to them. I don't know. I just always love talking to you about that. Like, I just want my audience to go, you know what? I've never thought about that. I've never thought outside of my sphere.
Well, I think it's not complicated. We're not asking people to build a rocket to the moon. We're asking people to survive, which is our instinct, right?
Yeah.
And survive with those that you love. And so, I think that, spending some time praying and reading is always good. Stop passing around bad information. Jesus, people get on my nerve. Like there's not going to be martial law in the United States. If I get one more text message from my mom about what she saw on Facebook that Donald Trump is going to put tanks on the street, that's not happening, guys. I do anticipate that probably before Mother's Day, we will have an ease on these restrictions because the economy is struggling so bad. And a lot of people in North Carolina, they expect the peak around the second or third week in April.
What about South Carolina? Because y'all are
we're a little bit behind. I mean, they anticipate the peak this month as well. I mean, a lot of places on the East Coast, even as far over as Chicago, places where you see some struggling, Detroit, Michigan especially. They expect the peak to happen. I know that in New York, they expect it around April 10th, and Detroit around April 11th. So right now, I think that people should focus on making themselves healthy as possible. And what I mean by healthy is make yourself as spiritually healthy as you can, as mentally healthy as you can, read as much as you possibly can, and physically healthy, because at the end of the day, the likelihood is that we're all going to end up with this virus. And so you want your body in a position to fight the virus. And so those are the things that I would encourage everyone to do. And if you are healthy, then you can help other people. That's what, like, broken people trying to help is the worst thing you can do, because you ain't good to yourself and ain't good to nobody else. So I don't need you to try to help me if you can't help yourself. And so I want people to be as healthy as possible.
Is that why are you still doing your fitness challenge?
I work out by myself. I'm on Peloton every day. Bakari won on Peloton every day. Come join me for a ride or something. I do 2-a-days. So after my conference call that I get off with you, I'm gonna go work out, and then I'll work out again tonight.
Yes, you are. I'm trying to walk as many miles as I can because your girl got to get outside. You know, I got to get my tan. I got to like pound out my frustrations. And I think that's what I keep telling people is like, y'all keep buying up all the canned food and leaving the oranges and the kombucha. Your body can fight this. Allow your body to work and fight this. We're going to end with this. What are you reading right now that you can tell the people to be reading?
I'm actually, nobody wants to read the book I'm reading right now. I'm reading a book on how to sleep train children. So we're working on that right now through, like I tell you, it's different parts of life. So I will come out of this, if my kids are sleep trained, I will come out of this a healthier person, because I will actually get, 6, 7, 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So nobody wants to read the book that I'm reading right now.
Except Joey and Brett, my brother and sister-in-law, because every time I talk to them, Hallie's screaming in the back. I'd like, doesn't want to sleep.
People, just a side note, if people have kids that are watching, Hope and Wade King, who are good friends of mine, we do a lot of work. We flipped a school not long ago, Melachep Elementary School in Orangeburg, South Carolina. They do a lot of work. And if you're having to homeschool your kids, they have resources online. Their names are Hope and Wade King, and they have resources that'll get you through the entire summer with educating your kids.
Okay, I love that. Is that with Opportunity Project, or is that with?
They are their own thing, but they are we collaborate. I mean, we're dope, so we work together.
Okay, and I'm also going to put the link. You can save the link, but I'm going to put the link after we get offline to support the hospitals that you're working on in the rural areas, because if you've ever, I'm not going to go into my personal story, but if you've ever experienced rural hospitals and what their resources and the impact, we got to help them too. Like, not everyone.
$4 a mask, people. $4 a mask.
Yeah. So we're going to put that link too. Like, don't forget, we have people all over that resources can keep you alive or dead right now. And our goal is not to come out of this with the numbers of millions dying, right? Like, our goal is to love on each other and support each other.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say?
Nope. I hope people go out and read the book. I haven't seen you pre-order yet, so when you pre-order, send me your receipt.
I already did. I sent you my receipt months ago.
Yeah.
And I asked you to post me, because that's that person.
I did. I
got it. You know I got it. I'm going to send it to everybody.
Thank you.
It's their Father's Day gift, because
it's right after Mother's Day, maybe right in between.
I'll send it to Libby. Libby's always looking for a good book. She's like, I don't have any more at my house.
There you go.
You can come to mine. She's like, well, we're not supposed to travel.
There you go. Old people got to stay home. Thank you, Arden and Arden's Chats.
Thank you. Bye, guys.